if we can learn to just see that as information, like this
Right.
person is communicating something to us, and then also have the, rather than, even if we do think of something as resistance, have being curious, well, what am I doing to contribute to that, right?
Right.
How can I shift what I'm doing, not, and certainly not to exacerbate it more, but not to create it in the first place, right? So yeah, I think that reframing the whole concept of resistance is really helpful.
Absolutely. I had a staff once a long time ago. Actually, this was when I was working at NBA, who that exact thing manifested, and I was training them to think of it that way because he came up to me one day and he said, I'm getting disrespected as the facilitator in the group. And I said, "Oh, tell me about that. What are you feeling as disrespect?" And he said, "They won't close their eyes." And I said, "Well, would you want to close your eyes if you were in a group with 10 people, some of which were opposing gang members, that if they were out in the streets, it would not be a safe environment?" And so I just started to get him to really think step by step of the resistance itself is that wired protection, and exactly what you said, it's information. And when you start seeing it as not just something to get rid of, but actual information about a human being, about how they're viewing the world and how they're trying to protect themselves, when you start seeing it that way, then there's a huge opportunity to work with them over time to help them develop that insight and self-awareness, and then be able to choose, is this how I want to show up in life? This is my superpower, but it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes the sword's facing outward, sometimes the sword's facing inward. And that is some of the deepest mindfulness and kind of insight-oriented practice that I've personally done with
Mhm.
clients and with adults and with youth. And it's just that simple shift of, it's quote unquote resistance, it's protection, and it's not about me. If I was here, if another facilitator was here, this would most likely be happening as well. While of course at the same time I can contribute to it and I can do things to exacerbate that resistance. So I want to have that kind of awareness of self when I go in and try to kind of look at things from a meta perspective and step out of my own ego as much as possible, because you know this, and probably a lot of your volunteers and folks in this field know this, especially working with incarcerated youth or with youth in general. Is very easy for an adult to go into authoritative mode. I'm the facilitator, I'm the adult, I should be listened to. And that's really a position that's solidified within the ego that we got to step out of sometimes, because it's easy to get in those resistance traps.